Hello friends, Namaste, this is Manoj Joshi. Welcome back to our 29th day of the Coronavirus Wellness Talk. We have explored many different things, and tomorrow I am going to give a summary of everything what we have learned so far. And today we are going to talk about something what is very essential to understand, because at this time of crisis, how we can deal with these kind of challenges, adversities. What are the practical knowledge that the yoga and Vedanta teaches, and how we can really implement those tools and techniques into our daily life so that we can overcome the challenges, can build a perspective which is more positive towards dealing with the problem, how we can create possibilities in our life so that we can build a strategy where we don't have to run away from the problems all the time, but create many possibilities where we are running towards the possibilities. Because when we run away from the problem, like if you're running away from one wall, a wall representing a problem, you're hitting another wall. So from one problem to another problem, like what we say, from pillar to post. On the contrary, if we try to create a possibility in our life and we aim at that possibility and then moving towards that, then sky is the limit. We always move up and up. So that's a perspective change that we have to build. And the most important aspect that we have been talking so far is how the human consciousness, the spiritual domain of us, that can be practically utilized. And that's the topic that we want to explore today. Is it the spiritual consciousness that you're talking about is only to realize God or to know the ultimate truth? Or can this be implemented to increase the quality of our life? So if you look at the basic concept of spirituality, as we have already explained many times, it's the power that gives us to strengthen our body, to strengthen our mind, our intellect, our memories, and all the different faculties of our mind, which are the root or the foundation of every success. Won't you agree? If the mind is in the right direction, our life also will be in the right direction. If the mind is not in a position to handle the problem, to deal with the situations that we are going through, of course we are going to have adverse effects, not just to our mind, but to our body, to our intellect, to our relationships, to our emotions, to our spirit. So there are multifold negative impacts. Right now, as the whole world is going through a lockdown, shelter at home strategy because of the COVID-19 pandemic, there could be different perspective also. There are many people who are talking about some of the positive aspects of this. There are a lot of role reversals happen. Like earlier, in different countries, the people or the employees of different companies, they used to call for a strike, like we are not going to work, or we are going to stop this city for the today. Like in India, they call it Bharat Bandh. That means the whole nation will be shut down today because of certain things that the government is not able to take care. And today, it's a reversal. The government is saying to people that it's a lockdown, shut down, don't come out of the home. So that's a role reversal. If you look at in the house itself, there is a role reversal. Earlier, most of the time, the husbands were not doing the cooking in general. Of course, there are exceptions to it. But right now, most of the husbands, irrespective of whatever the situations, they are bound to do a lot of things that we were not doing it earlier. Like babysitting, cooking food, helping each other, taking care of all the domestic chores. So there is a role reversal in our house also, because everybody has to do it. There is no extra help that we are getting, so we have to be self-sufficient. Look at the roads. They are much emptier. That means there are less accidents. Basic awareness of the health and sanity has increased. That's why on an average, if you look at in any hospital, on an weekends, maybe there were 200, 300 people who would come for different kind of problems, like indigestion problems or headache problems or vertigo issues or some kind of accidents. So many problems, mental, physical problems. But right now, as I was talking to a doctor friend of mine, he said that the number of usual cases of health is totally reduced. No one is coming to the hospital because they don't want to expose themselves to the coronavirus in the hospital. They don't want to stay, they want to go out. So in order to protect from one problem, we are also getting benefit of different prosperities or the health benefits. So like in order to avoid something, we are also gaining some health benefits. We're not falling sick usually because we're using our mind power, because we're using our willpower to stay strong, to stay healthy, to stay clean. So that's a good condition. If you look at the nature, looks like the nature is healing herself. The greenness of the trees, the cleanliness of the air, the more infection, the pollution is going out. There is less traffic. If you think about the forest, the mountains, the snow, the global warming effect. So all those things are having a positive impact. And we as a human race also getting an opportunity to reflect on different things. There is also a reversal of the terms that we use. For example, the word positive is getting more negative reaction right now. For instance, if somebody is having a coronavirus positive after the test, so that will create a lot of negative reactions to everybody. So the positive means more negative right now. So there are a lot of reversals. There are so many things that have happened in the world so that we are more forced to think deeper and find out what is the most sustainable way of living life. Of course, the economy in every part of the world has taken a toll, but human beings are more creative. As the saying goes, necessity is the mother of invention. People have become much more creative. And I personally believe that people have become a little bit more spiritual, so that the spiritual quotient of the planet has increased to some extent. The happiness index might have increased a little bit. So all these things are perspective of how we as human beings deal with different challenges. When there is a bigger challenge, the whole humanity can come together. There could be a unity in diversity. There could be integration of thoughts, ideas, technologies. Everything can be possible because the human mind is the primary source where the problems get created, and because of the creativity, the bliss factor of the mind, it can create n number of solutions in a very creative and sustainable way. And those are the kind of things that is pertaining to the awareness component of our being. Because we are aware, because we are conscious, we can put to our mind different tasks and command the mind to think about creativity, think about positive solutions. So, consciousness study doesn't mean just to know yourself or your higher self. It also can help us to reveal the secrets of the nature. I was studying the biography of Sri Aurobindo, and one of the instances where they were trying to make a building is called Golkund inside their community called Auroville in Pondicherry in India. And at a very critical juncture, when they have to lay down the roof, there was heavy downfalls, the rain, and they prepared so much work. So it was a big obstacle for the construction team. So the team went to Sri Aurobindo and then requested if something can be done, and then they basically talked about their problem. What can be done? And it looks like Sri Aurobindo just gazed at the sky for some time, looked at the sky. Probably he made a request to the nature, to the sky, and immediately the rain stopped. And they were able to do the construction work the way they had planned earlier. And after some time, when there is a need for putting the water on the construction to keep that cement to be more stronger, and there was a spell of rain right in the moment. So it means if we are truthful, if we have practiced more rigorous work to build that consciousness inside, we can also command to the nature. Many of you must have read the famous book, The Autobiography of an Indian Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda. In that book, it's a spiritual expedition, it's a spiritual adventure. There are so many instances that is given in the book that for a layman it will just sound like extreme miracles. Like in one of the instances, I remember, because I was initiated into Kriya Yoga in my 7th grade. So I was reading that book in my 7th or 8th grade, I remember. In one of the instances it was said that Lahiri Mahasaya is one of the gurus in that dynasty. He was working for a Britisher in Calcutta in a clerical job. And it so happened that his boss's wife in London was very sick in the hospital. After much of a struggle, she recovered. And then after 6-7 months, she comes to India to visit her husband. And when she looks at Lahiri Mahasaya, who is working in his husband's office in Calcutta, and she was astonished to see this person. And she said it to her husband that how come this person is here? He was my surgeon, he was the doctor because of whom I got healed in London, and how come he is here right now? So there was a possibility of cloning, like a human being can exist in 2 different locations at the same time. So there are many such instances which has been given in the book. You'll feel like, how is it possible to create a golden castle out of thin air? To experience something called resurrection, coming out of death and taking a life again. What in Christianity also believe that Jesus Christ resurrected himself when he celebrated that Good Friday. So there are so many instances in the life of spiritual people who have mastered or got siddhi or command over the consciousness, that they've been able to do a lot of miraculous work for a good cause for the mankind by just communicating to the nature. The secrets of the nature gets revealed to them. In one of the other instances which is very relevant to today's context of coronavirus, it's also coming from the same school, Sri Ma, the mother, Holy Mother Sri Ma. It so happened that Sri Ma was a victim of the Spanish flu in the year of 1918 when she was in Japan. So everywhere people are dying within 3 days. Thousands of people were dying all over the place. Everybody were wearing masks. Total shutdown, just like right now. And she happened to travel in a train, and somehow she got exposed to this virus. She comes home, very high fever. And then one of her friends called a doctor. The doctor gave some medicine, which is also very rare. But she refused to take the medicine. All the time she was asking one question: why is this virus happening? What is the root cause of that? And how I can get to the bottom of it so that I can find a solution for it. And she was always busy in asking these kind of questions in her mind. And she refused to take the normal medicine and just stayed there. And during that time, it was told that there was a kind of a personality that came to her dream or in a state of acute meditation, who was a soldier whose head was cut off, and he was a victim in the World War I. And from there, it looks like the virus came, the Spanish flu. So this personality was trying to attack her and take out all the life system or the life force from her. She was struggling, and she thought that today is this moment is the end of my life. But somehow, during that moment, she could use some of her occult science or occult power to fight with this demon or the monster, or whatever you can call it, this personality. And then somehow she escaped from that. And after 2 more days of unconscious state of mind, she overcame. She came out healthy. And one person, a friend of her, came to visit her after she was recovered. And she told that just last 2 days, the total number of deaths in Japan and everywhere else is totally stopped. That means no more new cases are building up and no deaths are happening. And then Srima told her this story, how she interacted with this personality in her dream or when she was struggling to overcome this problem. And it was somehow connected to this thing because this person was the root cause of this virus, because as I have already told, the viruses are embodiment of an ill will, something which is very, very disintegrated or disintegrated soul, so-called. And when that concept of the root was destroyed by her occult or spiritual energy or human consciousness, and all these things happened because she was curious to find out what is the root cause of this problem, and it was revealed to her by the nature. So let's put it that way. So because she was curious to find out the root cause of the problem for the humanity with a greater goal, with a higher intent for the greater good of the mankind, so the nature revealed and helped her to find the solution for this problem. And after that, the whole pandemic was over. So friends, the human consciousness, as we have already talked about in many different days, has been very powerful. The instrument that is given to us, which is also explained in the chapter 7 of Bhagavad Gita, is called Jnana Vigyan Yoga. Gyan is the knowledge and Vigyan is the Vishesh Gyan, that means applied knowledge. So the consciousness study is not just for self-realization. It is to understand the deeper aspects of the problems that we encounter in our life and to find much sustainable solutions. And all those things are well explained in the concept of the practical aspects of how you can purify your mind, how you can balance the 5 elements we talked about in the form of Ashtada Prakriti. The earth element, the water element, the fire, the air, the space. These are the 5 elements. And on top of that, your mind, your intellect and your ego. So these all 8 things called Ashtada Prakriti, or the 8-fold nature of our being. And there are practical methods given to purify these elements so that we can acquire higher knowledge and familiarity with the nature, with the universe. So in a nutshell, if you want to purify these 8 elements, or your mind and your consciousness, you have to learn this technique of meditation and different healing sciences, how to immerse your mind, intellect into that pure consciousness, that infinite intelligence called the Atman or the Brahman. And those are practical methods of meditation, pranayama techniques laid out in our scriptures. So all this esoteric science of spirituality right now is very handy, very powerful, and I believe a lot of people are taking deeper interest to explore the hidden secrets of this ancient concept of yoga and Vedanta, and combining that with the modern science and management, modern psychology, so that we can find practical applications of this knowledge which will help us to increase our mental faculties, to enhance the memory, to enhance the willpower, to increase the focus of the mind, to engage into something bigger, to practice unselfishness, to practice more love, compassion for one another, to come out of the greed, to become truthful, to become loyal to each other, to build profound relationship with your loved ones, to find meaningful engagements, not just to earn money and have a living, but to make something greater, to leave a legacy behind. And all those possibilities can happen only when we learn the secrets of our consciousness. The subtle elements of our being are more powerful. Just like I have already told, atom being such a small particle of the entire matter, so when we try to split the atom, the whole nuclear power emerges. So inside an invisible atom, there is so much of energy concealed. So likewise, human body is more gross, less powerful. And the mind being more subtle material are more powerful. A simple example of like how many human beings are there in the planet. Like there are 7.5 or 7.6 billions of people in the planet. But out of them, how many people are intellectuals? How many people have really taken time to go to colleges, universities, establish some different patents, build companies? So those people are a handful. And those people have got the most power. They control the world. And that clearly tells that if people can use more than just a physical body to do the work, you'll get like less amount of money, like $10 per hour. But if you use your mind and intellect, you'll get much more than that. And that has been established again and again by people who are innovators, creative people. Likewise, if you think about the spiritual people, they're also much more powerful than people who are intellectual in nature. Like one Krishna, one Rama, one Buddha, one Jesus Christ, one Dalai Lama, or all these, Mahatma Gandhi, one Buddha, all these people who have refined their consciousness to such an extent that their work, their thoughts, like Swami Vivekananda, Swami Ramakrishna Paramahansa, all the spiritual masters, they become immortal because of their work, because of their knowledge. So it tells us that the more subtle energy that we have, if we invest more on our subtle beings, we can be much more powerful in this life itself. And that is why the knowledge of spirituality, the knowledge of human consciousness, and practical use of these can help us to find creative solutions out of any bigger problems. And I believe that we have an opportunity to learn those lessons at this point of time. So when we meditate in a collective way, within a month time, our human consciousness will be evolved into higher state. And when we use the technology of internet, the technology of Google as a cloud, to have all this knowledge, to interact with people all around the world, to have wonderful seminars, webinars, discussions, forums, global meditation where 1 million people, 5 million people can meditate together at the same time. So all those things are practical applications of how human beings should be creative to find deeper, meaningful, sustainable solutions to this pandemic. And I pray for such wisdom, the mindset of our leaders, of the teachers, of everyone who are so-called intellectuals. If they can evolve to the next level of spiritual wisdom, or maybe wisdom 2.0, then we can deal with such kind of challenges, spiritual problems, with much more ease and effortlessness, with much more joy, with much more expertise. And each of these interactions with the nature will bring us more and more positive consciousness. And that will help us to evolve into a higher state of consciousness as a human race. Because right now, at least one thing is for sure, that we are all connected. We cannot remain in isolation. For example, if as a nation, if America alone can just think about herself, just to make enough money, enough wealth, to build a lot of infrastructure, everything. But if somewhere down in Africa or the remote part of India or Australia, New Zealand or Fiji or wherever, if that part is not well developed, the health infrastructure is not created, the educational infrastructure is not created, guess what? All these different things will happen. Such viruses will happen from their area, and which can contaminate the entire world, just like what happened right now. So it's a wish, instead of spending trillions and trillions of dollars every day on self-defense or defense, we must put a limit to everything and try to think about what is the most sustainable way to create basic infrastructure in the entire world, thinking that the whole world is our own place. At least that's the kind of teaching that I want to take away from the coronavirus, which teaches us human beings, come on, unite yourself. Think about one human race. Otherwise, a tiny being like us can give you the challenge, which can help you or which can hurt you so much that everything will be devastated. And that is a wake-up call for us. So with that in mind, the essence of learning is how we can make this problem as an opportunity to take a giant leap in terms of spiritual development, understanding the subtle aspects of our personality and making use of those subtle faculties to find solutions to bigger and bigger problems of life, and to create a sustainable future for our own life and for the life of our children, grandchildren, and all the human race for thousands of years to come. And let's meditate on this concept today. So please keep your back straight and upright. Keep your hands in Chin Mudra, index and thumb together. Keep your palms on your lap and keep your eyes gently closed. As we have already discussed about how the unfoldment of the truth happens at different stages of life. That means as we progress into a spiritual journey, we got to become more and more responsible. Think about a newborn infant. If that infant urinates on your face or on your shirt, you're not going to get mad at that little baby. You don't want to hurt him or her. You will take it gladly. You'll rather joyfully declare what happened. But if the same thing happened with a 20-year-old boy, that's not going to be accepted. So likewise, when we are spiritually immature, we can make mistakes. But when we go in the higher path of our conscious development, we got to be responsible. And this holds good for any amount of prosperity that the human beings have achieved over a period of time by using our mind, intelligence, in most cases in a negative way, by becoming too greedy, too much egotistic, self-centered, in a competitive way, and then the entire development becomes unsustainable, just like what has happened now. So let's take a pledge at this moment to learn the lesson and to create some rituals in our life to immerse our mind, intellect, ego, memories, and subject it to a refinement process so that it can evolve to a higher state of being, so that the secrets of the nature can be revealed to us to find creative, sustainable solutions to problems that we go through. Simple technique: connect your heart center, think about Prana Shakti as the source of all the knowledge, all the wisdom, everything that we need to learn and grow and expand is all there in our heart, in the form of an Om symbol. All we do is you breathe in, chant 5 times Prana Shakti in your mind, and as you breathe out, chant 5 times Prana Shakti in your mind. And just stay there for a minute. Just like the Mother Nature helps an ugly looking caterpillar to transform into a beautiful looking butterfly. Just like out of mud, a beautiful lotus comes out. Let's hope a wonderful thing, a meaningful transformation is going to happen to our human consciousness, and we will be evolving. We all will be evolving to a higher state of consciousness by our individual practice, collective practice, using the technology and the spirituality together towards a better, improved and sustainable future for all of us. Let's extend this prayer to let this wisdom influence all the global leadership right now, so that proper decisions are taken at a local level, national level, and at a global level. May there be wisdom, may there be peace, may there be calmness, may there be sanity, may there be intelligence, and may there be solution to the problems that we encounter, irrespective of how big and how small are the problems. Every solution will connect all of us towards the path of evolution, expansion, and emancipation, leading us to the freedom, the liberation, or the nirvana through acquiring right knowledge and application of that knowledge in the right time, in the right way. Take 5 more long and deep breaths to allow this knowledge to take roots into your deeper consciousness. Let's bring both the palms together and be grateful for this wonderful experience of collective meditation. At any point of time that you're doing, we all are connected through one consciousness, and let this consciousness guide us in every step and every stop of life. Sarve bhavantu sukhina, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukkha bhag bhavet. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Wrap your palms together and keep your palms gently touch your face and look at them like an open book with a couple of blinks. Open your eyes, look at your palms. Have a wonderful time.